And welcome everybody to another edition of the GSMC Baseball Podcast Patreon exclusive content episode. Once again, I'm your host, Kenneth Gruenfelder. And as always, it's great to have you guys here on this Friday. We have finally reached the final half hour of my 3-hour doubleheader today. No blunders today. We didn't have to start over and restream. Our volume was good. And it's we talked a lot of football, obviously on the football show. Baseball went through some things, recapping the series so far. Talked about the playoff format and the whether or not Jose Altuve should be in the Hall of Fame or not. So obviously that's basically how the show went today. Obviously with the playoff format, listen. I understand why people are complaining about it. I get it. The layoff, I think that is a legitimate thing. But also, listen, if the teams are as good as they are, right? They should be able to, battle through that. And win against their opponent. And you know why people are complaining? Because we've done this for 2 years now, okay? And obviously a little different from this year to last year because so 3 of the 4 outcomes from the division series were the same. Braves and Dodgers both lost. Astros advanced. Basically the same thing as last year. Only the difference is we had the Orioles and the Rangers. Rangers moved on. Last year the Yankees played the Guardians, and they, had the second best record. They beat the Guardians. They moved on, as a division winner. The Orioles, they, got swept. So, for me, I said, if you want to go back to when it was just one wild card and you had 3 division winners. Then don't do expanded playoffs at all. Do none of that. Just have your 4 teams from each league play each other, and you go from, division series to the World Series. Now, I think what they should do also, and I actually failed to mention that on the live portion of the show, is they should go back. No, not go back, but they should make the division series 7 games. The championship series is 7 games. The World Series is 7 games. Why isn't the division series 7 games? You look in the NBA, all their series are 7 games. I mean, they have the play-in tournament, obviously, but every series there is 7 games. Same thing in the NHL. All of their games are 7 games. Why is baseball not 7 games? The NFL should be 7 games too. No. I don't know if it was a joke, but has anyone, let me know if you have seen this, but has anyone seen that TikTok where it was somebody saying, oh, the NFL should do something similar to that, have a series? Are you kidding me? I mean, I don't know if it was a joke or not. I mean, I would think it was a joke. But imagine having an NFL, playoffs, you have a 7-game series. I mean, injuries galore with that. But that obviously that's not going to happen, right? You would think. I mean, with the Monday night football, the Thursday night, the Black Friday game. I mean, obviously during COVID, you had Tuesday, you had a game on Wednesday. I mean, they might, before you know it, there's going to be a game every single day. And they love the Saturday games, of course. And obviously, on the holidays, I mean, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, they're all going to be there. There's going to be football on all those days, but yeah, I think people, that TikTok, I hope it wasn't serious, but if it was, yeah. But going back to the original point, baseball, division series should be 7 games. I think you make it 7 games and you go back to when it was just the 4 teams, 1 wild card. But people are just complaining because it's you know why? Because you're not getting the matchups you wanted. You wanted to see Dodgers Braves. You're not getting that. Sorry. And you know what? And I went over it. Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts went 1 for 21. Dodgers pitching wasn't good. Clayton Kershaw gave up 6 runs in the first inning. Lance Lynn gave up 4 home runs in 1 inning. Is that because of a huge layoff, or is that just because Clayton Kershaw isn't good in the postseason and Lance Lynn might be done? I'd probably lean more towards that. Now, again, you have a team that has 84 wins on the season and a team that has 100, and you get swept. They didn't even win a game. They got swept. I mean, listen, Corbin Carroll's had a good postseason. The players on the Diamondbacks have done well, and their pitching's done well. Shout out to Brandon Pfaadt. Because he's had a good postseason. He had, the rookie. He's had a rough year, rough regular season, but he's been good in the postseason. The Braves, offense wasn't good enough. I mean, they could have got swept if they didn't have that comeback win in Game 2. But you know what? The Phillies, I mean, they've knocked you out back-to-back years. It's not by accident. The Phillies just own you in the postseason. The Dodgers were coming in, yeah, they won 100 games, but you're not as loaded as you have been in years past. And let's not forget, in the regular season, you're playing a lot of bad teams. So if you're a good team, you're going to stack up those wins against them. Now you're going up against teams you're going up against better competition in the postseason. You are. I don't want you guys to think I'm scratching my nose. I'm not, just, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, you're going up against better teams. So, I mean, there's no excuse. Go out there and win. And they didn't do that. Again, how come the Astros are able to go out every single year, and these past 2 years, they have no problem. They have no problem with it. I mean, yeah, they lost one of the games against the Twins, but they still won the series. How come they're able to do it and you're not? You know why? Because the Astros are a better team than you. They are. Astros came in at 90 wins. Not as good of a record as they have had in years past. And they were able to be like, yeah, what layoff? And now they're on their way to maybe possibly, getting back to the World Series once again. Just something to think about. So, when people are complaining about this playoff format, you know what? It's because your team isn't good enough in the postseason. Your star players, layoff or not, Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts should not be going 1 for 21 in the postseason. They just should not be. That shouldn't happen. And you know what? The Dodgers were dealing with injuries. There's no Walker Buehler, Dustin May, obviously Julio Urias with his off-the-field stuff. So the Dodgers rotation was compromised in the series. But don't tell me it's because of the layoff. There's many other issues besides that. The Braves, I mean, come on. You got knocked out by the Phillies last year. You got knocked out again. It's because the Phillies own you in the postseason. Layoff or not. That home field advantage is real. And the Phillies have a loaded lineup. Phillies got just as good of a lineup as the Braves. With Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto. That lineup is really good. Bryce Harper is unbelievable in the postseason. Schwarber's been good. Castellanos has been good. Trey Turner, these guys are producing. JT Realmuto, they're all producing. The lineup is good. Your lineup did not produce. And that's why you lost. You had chances to score. You didn't capitalize on it. That's your problem. So don't blame it on, it's, the off days. I mean, it's other people saying that. It's no excuse. They lost to better teams in that moment. Now, with the expanded playoffs not being a factor, then that probably doesn't happen. Well, for the Dodgers, I mean, the Phillies were the top wild card, so they would still make it. But if you went back down to 1, Diamondbacks don't make it. Dodgers end up playing the Brewers, I guess. When the Diamondbacks beat the Brewers have problems in the postseason. Brewers don't hit. And that happened again. They went up against the Diamondbacks early. Diamondbacks came back and beat them. The Rays last couple years in the playoffs, they don't hit. The playoffs are just different. They're different. I don't think it has to do with time off. It just you're facing better teams. You're facing their best. You're not facing the A's, the Royals, some of these bad teams this year. I mean, those are the Cardinals who were bad this year. I mean, not as nearly as bad as the A's and the Royals, but still, that's that's like like I said, you're facing better teams. You're facing their best. So, yeah, it's just to make excuses. But at the end of the day, these games aren't going away. They're gonna keep. They're gonna keep them. It's all about making money. At the end of the day, that's really what it all comes down to. So, obviously, the bigger topic on today's show as well, or one of the other topics, is Jose Altuve. I talked about him. Yeah, I think he should make the Hall of Fame. I just he's having a Hall of Fame career, and I understand the cheating scandal and all that. I get it. I understand. But you take that out, he's still having a great career, and they might be winning another championship with him. It's hard. It's really going to be hard to keep him out. Now, again, it's not up to me. It's not up to you. It's up to who votes the players in. I get it. But, are we really going to, I don't think they should be held out. But then again, that opens up another, a bigger question of, steroid users. And because I talked about that briefly, listen, if A-Rod and Barry Bonds, they don't take steroids, they still have Hall of Fame careers. They benefited off of steroids, of course, but you take those away, they're still one of the great. They're still some of the greatest players of all time. The Pete Rose thing, he should be in. All these guys should be in the Hall of Fame. And there's definitely guys that have taken it that, they never got caught. And listen, I think it's because, I think Big Papi took him, but nothing ever happened with him. But everybody loves Big Papi. Everybody doesn't like it. A lot of people, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people don't like A-Rod. So that's why he's probably never going to get in. And that's why, going back to the discussion I had yesterday, something different with Justin Herbert and Dak Prescott, and how, Herbert doesn't get a lot of criticism, Dak Prescott does. Now, again, that's a different topic, of course, because it's football. But I think, again, it goes back to, it really goes with, all things in life in general, is I think people like to just pick and choose, who they criticize, who they don't, because, it depends on who the person is. Yeah, maybe Big Papi did take him. Didn't get caught. But because everybody loves him, nobody's going to question it. A-Rod, because of, A-Rod and who he is and how not a lot of people liked him, of course they're going to bash him and be like, nah, he doesn't deserve to make it. He cheated. But, it's all about picking and choosing who deserves it and who doesn't. And it's wrong. It is wrong. And again, it's like that everywhere. It's not just in sports. It's everywhere. So, I think players that have taken steroids should be in the Hall of Fame. They all should. The records count. Barry Bonds is the all-time home run leader. Should be in the Hall of Fame. He should. A-Rod, almost has 700 home runs. Over 3,000 hits. Guys got to be in it. And again, that's just guys, off the top of my head. As an example. Pete Rose, all-time hits leader. Should be in. Should be. But again, that's not for me to decide. That's for Major League Baseball. We'll have to see. I mean, but with the Astros, I mean, listen, the cheating scandal is different because it's not performance enhancing drugs you're using, but I guess it's performance enhancing strategy. Sign stealing is part of the game, just how they did it. They involve technology, so obviously, yeah. But again, I mean, they're good even without them cheating. The Astros did not need to cheat, but they did it anyways. So, I don't know. It's, it's a tough call. It's a tough call. But for me, and you would think, how are you saying that? You're a Yankee fan. Listen, again, I have my differences with the Astros. I obviously, they should have been punished to the utmost extent when all this came out, and they kind of just got a slap on the wrist. Players should have been suspended. The fact that AJ Hinch and the general manager, they were the only people that got punished from this. And I think Rob Manfred even came out and said, "Yeah, maybe I was a little too light with the punishment." You think? You really didn't do anything. And then we had to listen to that apology that they gave. That was nothing. Yeah, I'm sorry. Bregman and Altuve both apologizing. Oh yeah, it was not sincere at all. But now you're oh yeah, maybe I was a little, whatever. But yeah, I mean, listen, I have my differences with the Astros, but you know what? They're a very good team. Regardless of the cheating, they have been able to weather through this storm, this dark cloud, and they've been able to win a championship. They've gone back to the World Series, a few times. I mean, and they've won one. It doesn't matter. They're a well-run organization. The cheating was not the way to go. It's not the way to go. Because the cheating's always going to be there. That is always going to hang over their heads. But, they decided to do that, and they got to suffer the consequences for that. So, but Altuve should be in the Hall of Fame. He should. If he continues on this trajectory and he finishes his career strong, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He is. He's a clutch player in the postseason. He's got a lot of clutch hits. He's a great player. You can't take that away from him. The cheating can't either. I mean, I just think I don't believe him when he says that he didn't take advantage of using that during that time. I think everybody did. But whatever. So obviously we move into the division championship series with both of these series here. The series in the American League is tied 2-2. Astros and the Rangers, of course. And then you have the Diamondbacks. They picked up a win yesterday, defeating the Phillies 2-1, and the series is now 2-1. There, but I see the Phillies winning that. Nick Urillo in the chat said Phillies in 5, Astros in 7. I'm still gonna say Phillies in 6. I think the Diamondbacks at least get one more game here at home. I just feel bad because I've kind of been trashing them this whole time, really. Well, not trashing them, but I just keep going against them, and I had to go against them again, which again I didn't like, but. The Phillies are just a better team right now. We'll see what happens. But also, with the Rangers, this is a big game tonight, of course. They got Jordan Montgomery pitching tonight for them. So it's a big game. It's a big game. You got Verlander pitching. They, they should, it should be a close game. It should definitely be a close game. Obviously, the first game with these two guys on the mound, it was 2-0. So, and the Astros have scored a ton of runs in the last two games. But now you got Montgomery and Evaldi. So the Rangers really got to win the series with these two guys on the mound because then you got to give the advantage back to the Astros. Because Scherzer didn't pitch well. You did the Heaney-Dunning combination and it just didn't work. So, but and then for the Diamondbacks, they held the Phillies down. So we'll see what happens tonight. Game 4 between these teams. And like I said, towards the end, we're getting closer and closer to the World Series. I said it was going to be Phillies Rangers before these games, but could very well see Phillies Astros again, which I'm kind of hoping not, but because I just don't want to see the Astros in it again. But you know what? Here's the other thing: if the Astros make it, how bad does that look for the American League? Here's a team, right, that cheated, and that should have fired you up to say we are not letting this team get back there again. And they have made it back. They made it back in 2021, last year. They could make it again. 2020 they didn't, but they almost did. With if they came back from 3-0 against the Rays. How bad does that look for the American League? It makes the American League look terrible. You let these guys back in again. But again, what does that say about them? What does it say about the Astros? It shows the Astros are a very well-run organization. It's the bottom line. It's the bottom line. They lose players, they replace them, and they just keep going. They just keep going. So, it's bad. Listen, it's bad on my team. My team didn't even make the playoffs this year. So, it's... listen, and it's not to discredit the Astros but it really is just more humiliating for the American League that it's you just cannot beat these guys. You can't. No matter what, you just cannot beat the Astros. And that's why they could be going back to the World Series for the third straight year. Third straight. Fourth in the last 5 years. They've gone back to the championship series. This is their 7th year in a row doing so. They didn't make it in 2018. They didn't make it in 2020. But, we'll have to see. The Rangers is a big game for them tonight. They got to win tonight. I think if the Rangers lose tonight, I think the series is over. I think it's over. Because I don't trust Scherzer. And, the Andrew Heaney-Dunning combination, the Astros are going to take advantage of that. Now, could go how the 2019 World Series went, where every road team won. Or the road team won every game. But because that's how it's gone so far. But, there's a big game for Monty. Obviously, I talked about how, the Yankees might be trying to get him back. That just... It's a really bad trade for Cashman. Another one that was bad because Bader's not even on the team anymore. Didn't even last a full year. And you said, yeah, we don't really see him as a postseason starter. And look at how he's been in the postseason. It's been awesome. Let's see. Let's look at... So let's go to Montgomery's stats for the postseason, shall we? Let's do that. All right. So Monty in the postseason, 2-0, 2.08 ERA. His career in the postseason, 5 games, 1.88 ERA. All right, so let's go back to the postseason in general. So with the Yankees in 2020, he pitched 1 game. He went 4 innings, allowed 1 earned run. Okay. Last year, he only pitched 2 2/3. Didn't give up any runs. This year, in 17 1/3 innings, 20 hits, 4 earned runs, and 13 strikeouts. So yeah, I mean, small sample size with the other teams that he has that he's pitched with, but still, I mean, he did good when he pitched for the Yankees in the postseason. I know it was only 4 innings. But now all of a sudden, I mean, we're interested in him. We want to bring him back. If I'm Montgomery, I'm like, I'm not coming back to you. Now, obviously, like, if the Yankees offer him, like, an offer he can't refuse, or if he does want to go back to the Yankees because, you know, he wants to be with his old teammates, then that's a separate situation. But I feel like the Yankees disrespected him. And the Yankees have had a habit of disrespecting their players over the last few seasons. I mean, the Gio Urshela stuff, you know. Yeah, we like Gio Urshela. We appreciate what he's done, but he's not Josh Donaldson. You know, this is all coming from the general manager of the Yankees. So, I mean, listen. I would welcome back Monty with open arms, just because we, you know, our rotation there's some question marks there. But if I'm him, why would I want to go back to a team that didn't want me? Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, I want to give you another chance. I'd be like, I'm good. So, but even if the Yankees bring him back, you know, it's like, we'll probably get bad Monty instead. But you know what? I don't know. I mean, but he'd be coming back and being our like third or fourth starter. You know, and they're still trying to try to get Yamamoto. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of rumors. You know, but yeah, that's pretty much it with the live portion of the show. You know, obviously, again, happy that no errors occurred today. Sound was good. You know, obviously a lot to talk about on this Friday. Did picks for football. Obviously, you know, recapping all the games, you know, so far with these series here. So, yeah, we have reached the end of this full 3-hour show between the two podcasts. So, and it went well this time. So once again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. You know, make sure to tune in 11 a.m. Eastern time. That'll be the fantasy football podcast and the baseball podcast. Football podcast doubleheader will be every Friday. Baseball will be after football. The baseball live portion will be 12:45 Eastern time. So once again, until then, I'm Kenneth Gruenfelder once again signing off from the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day. Enjoy all the games this weekend, football and baseball, and other games that you could think of as well. And enjoy the weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday for the GSMC Football Podcast. Take care, and I will see you then.